Hello YouTube Pipers, Double O Pipe here, aka Rick. I wanted to show off what I got in the mail. A new Savinelli, Bing's favorite, with the rusticated bowl and a brown stem. That is just absolutely gorgeous. Central Cal Piper sent this to me as a Christmas present. David Calf. Somewhere across the continent in California. And it came the other day and I was just completely surprised because I was not expecting anything. He felt sorry for me, I think, because I left my other Bing's favorite over at my friend's house. But I think I kind of like this one a little better than the one I bought. I just think it's a beauty. To me, from back in the old days, that is what a pipe looks like. This is a standard pipe from my memory. The codgers back in the old days put their tobacco in. That's it. Now, it might not have been a Savinelli, but that's the standard shape, the standard length of stem, and I think a standard bowl, because this bowl holds enough for a nice little smoke. And he also sent me this. So I'm stocked up for, I would say, life. So I'm good. I don't need anything else. I got what I want. The right pipe, the right tobacco. And I want to thank David for this. I wasn't expecting anything, but I sure was thrilled to get this in the mail. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Merry Christmas. I was thinking about Christmas again and trying to remember something else that happened at Christmas time. And the only thing that I can really remember is my cousin Hayne. And I told this story a year, maybe 2 years ago, one Christmas. But it's always good to think of my cousin who passed away back in, must have been 56 or 57. I was in the 4th grade. And I was doing something stupid like running around with my underpants over my pants and a towel wrapped around my throat, jumping off the furniture saying I'm Superman, and the telephone rang. And I happened to run past the kitchen door and I saw my mother's face fall. So I stopped and backed up, and I saw tears in her eyes rolling down her cheeks. And she hung the phone up slowly and she said, "Ricky, your cousin passed away." We weren't expecting it, but he had passed away. We had just moved away from the house that was next door to his house, living in a different area, which was a good fur piece away from the old house. And I hadn't seen him because we saw each other on a daily basis. And I hadn't seen him for a couple of months, I guess. And that news hit my mother hard, it hit my dad hard, and it hit me hard. And I guess my mind went over all the things that we had done together through the 4 years that we had lived next door. That was my extended family. He and his 2 sisters and my aunt. I was over there every day. Every day. And we played. But one Christmas, back then, the church that we went to, at Christmas time, they had what they called the Christmas tree. And it was in the evening. The church was downtown, so we would go down there and we would go to the meeting hall that they had. Chairs lined up. And the families would sit there, and the kids would pretty much sit in the front because Santa Claus would be coming to hand out gifts. And all the presents had a child's name on it. And this particular, excuse me, this particular Christmas, I looked at Mom and said, well, why can't my cousin come with us to this thing? And she said, well, he doesn't normally because he doesn't like to be stared at, and he doesn't like to have to roll up in his wheelchair. And I said, well, I think he'd want to go this year. I've been talking to him about it, and he looked kind of excited. She said, well, Ricky, there won't be a present for him. I said, I know what we can do about that. And my mother said, what can we do about that? And I ran into my room and picked up one of my cat pistols. When he and I would play cowboys and Indians, I would have my cat pistol, and he would have, I don't think he had a cat pistol. He had some kind of a gun that didn't have a trigger that would hit that cap and make it bang. But this thing did. This little Derringer that I had. It was tiny Derringer. And I would trade throughout our game. I would trade back and forth. I would use the one he had, and he would use the Derringer cap pistol and shoot that. And I ran back to my mother and said, here, he always liked this. We could give this to him. And she said, well, let me see if I can find a box, which she did. She always had something available to wrap something in. And I said, good, can I go tell him that we're going to take him? She said, well, let me go over there and talk to Sis. and see how she feels about it. Well, I didn't figure that would be a problem, so I said, okay, I'll wait. Anyway, she wrapped the present, put it in her purse with his name on the box so that she could hand it to the Santa when we got to the church. And we walked over to my aunt's house. And I went in there and sat, and my cousin and I were talking back and forth. And my aunt walked in and said, honey, would you like to go to the Christmas tree with Aunt Tinky? All the kids called my mother Tinky because when they were little, they couldn't say the nickname that her brother had given her years and years before, which was Stinky. So anyway, my aunt said, would you like to go with Rick and Tinky to the Christmas tree? And he looked up at her and big smile on his face said, yeah, I really would. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Thank you, Tinky. I knew you wouldn't let me down, he said. Oh, just thinking of that cracks me up. Because everybody called my mother Tinky in the family. Simply because as young children they weren't able to say stinky. So anyway, we went back to the house and started getting ready so we could go up to the church in town. We got ready and we got the car and we backed it over to my aunt's house because the driveways were connected. And we got his chair into the back and we got him situated in the car. We both sat in the back. Back in those days, whenever we used to ride, they would put him on, there was a shelf in the back that was just at the back window. And he would lay on that shelf and look out while we rode. But this particular time we were sitting in the seat. But he loved that shelf. He loved seeing where we had been when we were riding along the street. So he and I were excited, talking back and forth, and he's saying, you know, I don't know if Santa Claus will know that I'm there because I've never been before. I said, don't you worry about it. Santa knows everything. He'll have something for you. He said, you really think so, Ricky? I said, I'm positive. I know he'll have something for you. And he said, I hope you're right. I said, Santa knows everything. He knows all the children. Well, we got to the church and we parked the car and got his chair out and got him situated in it. And I pushed him up to the door of it was on the side of the church. The church was here and the communion hall was on the side back a little ways. And we went down that pathway to the door and got him in. Everybody was scattered about talking amongst themselves, the children laughing and giggling and all excited about Santa coming. And the parents over onto the side just watching their children and talking amongst themselves, passing recipes and such because it was Christmas. And there was a table with cookies and stuff on it. And the kids were going on just cramming stuff in their faces. Well, it was our night. I mean, at least that's what we thought. I don't know what the parents thought, but I'm sure that they felt like the children were the major reason that Santa Claus was coming. So the minister went up to the podium and kind of tapped on it and said, "Can everybody find a seat, please? And we'll say a few prayers and such." So I rolled my cousin over to a chair and I sat down, and he was beside me. And the minister went through all that he had to say about Christmas and the birth of Christ. And what was it? Good news for men. Now that I want to think of it, I can't think of the words, dadgummit. But it was the shepherds in the field who were sore afraid when they looked above and saw the angels in the sky, who told them to fear not. Well, they had news, good news for mankind, that a child was born and wrapped in swaddling clothes and lay in a manger. And the shepherds were mesmerized by the angels turning into an angelic choir, singing the hymn to the newborn king. And when the angels lifted back into heaven, and the shepherds looked at each other and said, "We have to go see this miracle that they tell us of." And we all sing a hymn after the minister would tell us the story again, that wonderful story. And the kids were very quiet, and all our faces, of course, were angelic. we were wrapped in the story. And then we had a prayer, and we had a we sang a carol, and we were all of us kids were getting nervous because we knew Santa was coming. And after the carol was sung, back in the kitchen, which was behind a closed door to our left, we heard a ho, ho, ho. And every kid in the front seats eyes got big excitement on their face. And Hayne looked over at me and he said, "Are you sure? Are you sure he's going to have something?" I said, "Don't you worry about it. He knows us all, and he's going to have something for each one of us." Even if it's one of those books full of lifesavers, all different flavors. He said, "I don't like lifesavers." I said, "It's okay. I'm sure he'll have something besides that for you. But that's something extra that we all get, and I like them. I'll take yours." He said, "You can have it." And the door swung open, and there he was. Red suit, white fur trim, long flowing white beard, red cap with a cotton ball at the end, huge stomach, because they got the fattest guy in the congregation to do this. Big, large black belt around his waist with a huge buckle. I mean, that waist was out there. No pillow for this guy. Now, the beard might have been a fake. I don't remember, but that belly was real. Uh, he came out and stood stock still and looked at all the children. He said, "Look at all the children. Ho, ho, ho. I think I might have something in my bag for each one of you." I said, "See?" Well, he came up to the front and put his bag down and reached in, picked up a package, and called out a name. And one of the kids jumped up out of his seat, sprang up, and went running up there, grabbed it, and said, "Thank you, Santa," and ran back to his seat. I kept thinking to myself, I hope my mama gave him that package from my cousin, because if he doesn't, he's going to think I'm a liar. Well, about midway, he picked up a package about the size I thought might be it, because I kept looking. I said, "Come on, let that be the one." And he called out my cousin's name. And I said, "I'll get it for you." And I jumped up and ran up there and picked it up. And I said, "Thank you, Santa." Ran back and gave it to him. And his eyes were just big. And he had a smile on his face like his face wouldn't hold it. It was so big. I said, "Open it up, open it up." He said, "Don't you want to wait until you get yours?" I said, "I don't care about that. Open up yours." I knew he was going to like it, because he always expressed admiration and happiness when he had that in his hand. He could bang, bang, bang with caps in it. And he opened it up and he took the lid off and he pulled back the paper wrapping and he said, "Look, Rick." I said, "Look at that." He said, "It's just like the one you have." I said, "Yeah, you always said you liked it. I guess Santa knew you wanted one just like it." Santa called my name about that time. I went up and grabbed mine, and I didn't pay him any attention while I was tearing mine apart to open it up. I don't even know what it was. It doesn't matter. But my cousin had taken it out, and he was really examining it and everything. He said, "Gosh, you know what, Rick?" I said, "What?" He said, I, I have been talking in my mind that I wanted one exactly like the one you had." And I said, "Well, you got it." And he said, "Yeah, look at this." And he opened it up. He said, "The one you have, I stuffed a piece of paper down it." Just like that. And I said, "Wow, he really got it perfect, didn't he?" He said, "Yeah." I didn't know he had stuffed something down the barrel, but he sure looked for it. Oh, that was the funniest thing that happened that Christmas. My cousin finding out that that Derringer he got from Santa was exactly, I mean, exactly like the one I had. Now, I'm sure later on when I couldn't come over with my particular Derringer, he figured it out, but we were so young, things like that were just miracles to us. uh, I'm just glad I was able to put that smile on his face. he was he was the salt of the earth. He was one of the best. Loved the life he had, though he was sequestered to a chair all his life, but he loved what he had and never complained. Never complained. Always happy to be with us when we were playing. Merry Christmas to you, because I miss you. Well, like I said, I've told that story before, but it's just one of my favorite Christmas memories. He was he was blood relative and a good friend at the same time. All right, I'll quit. Thank you again, David. I appreciate this. I love this. I love this pipe. This, like I say, is what a pipe always looked like to me. And this was what a pipe is supposed to be. Like that. Thanks again. Merry Christmas to you all. Take care of yourselves. Till the next time. Be good. I do hope you have a Merry Christmas and that the rest of your holidays are good. God bless you until the next time. Bye-bye.